years ago, elders from this church heard a shocking story. This young woman told them her father was sexually abusing her. The elders called her a liar.
I said to them, well, what are you meant to do then if he's doing something wrong? And they said, come to us and you'll deal with it. And I said to them, well, I've already spoken to you and you've told me I'm a liar.
The elder sent her home to her father. They didn't tell her that 3 years earlier he'd confessed to them that he was abusing her sister. Tulsa, Oklahoma, and a gathering of the church that let this happen. Over 6,000 Jehovah's Witnesses are in town for their district convention. Panorama is here too. We're looking for answers from the leaders of an organization that's under fire, facing mounting allegations that it's shielding abusers, silencing victims, and putting children at risk.
It's a worldwide problem that is of epidemic proportions within the organization, and no one knows about it unless your child was molested.
Stevenson is on the Ayrshire coast in Scotland, a quiet holiday resort, a close-knit town and home to a thriving community of Jehovah's Witnesses. Door-to-door service, Bible studies and conventions were at the heart of family life for this young woman. But now she's left the church which she says betrayed her. She doesn't want to be recognized. She had a strict religious upbringing, her parents wedded to the biblical principle that the father is head of the household.
We'd pray together kind of thing. I mean, we'd pray before meals and we'd pray before going to bed and ask God for help and ask God for forgiveness for anything we've done wrong that day. He was very strict. I was scared of my dad for years. I was really frightened of him.
She and her sister spent hours playing alone. Their father taught them that outside influences were bad. He prohibited friendships outside the church. But from the age of 11, her make-believe games hid a painful truth. Her father had started to abuse her.
I was in my bed one night and that's when my dad came through and started touching me and feeling me. I just lay there hoping it would go away. Witness statement at Salcoot's police office. Over the years since I was 11 until I was 15, my dad had done things to me that he shouldn't have done, like rub my breasts, finger me and try to have sex with me. I remember when we were in Perth, we were staying in a tent. He started to touch me and he made me touch him and he made me put his penis in my mouth and things like that.
Were you scared?
I was terrified. So there was one time my dad had told me if I'd ever told anyone about this, he would rip me apart.
For years she kept quiet. But one Sunday, after a meeting at the Kingdom Hall, she asked to see church elders. She needed their help.
We just told them everything that happened.
Did they tell you that this was serious, that you should go to the police, that they would go to the police for you?
No, they didn't tell me anything like that. They didn't make any mention of the police.
They said they'd deal with it?
Mm-hmm. After that, they'd called my father in. And they had a very, very long chat with him. And then eventually he came out and we went home and that was the end of it.
When confronted, Ian Cousins confessed he was abusing his daughter. He said he was sorry, so the elder sent him home with her. The abuse continued. Cousins was reproved or admonished publicly by the elders, but church policy meant that no one was told why, not even his younger daughter.
It was announced on the platform that Ian Cousins been reproved. And after that, I went to one of the elders and asked, well, why has he been reproved? And he said it's because of something he did wrong, but he wouldn't tell me what it was.
Even when her sister moved out, sick of the abuse, Alison still didn't know why. She missed her sister and was lonely. With one daughter gone, Ian Cousins turned on the other. It all began with an innocent goodnight kiss.
I gave him a kiss, like a peck in the lips, and then I tried to get up to walk away, and he pulled me down and he forced his tongue through my teeth, my clenched teeth, and he tried to put blame on me and said, do you really think you should be doing that?
He blamed you?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't long before the abuse got worse. One day her father was accused of assaulting one of Alison's friends. She had to do something, but had nowhere to turn, nowhere except the Kingdom Hall. She asked to see a church elder.
I told him everything that had happened and what my dad had done to me, and he said that he didn't believe me at all, and he said that I was a liar and that my dad would never do such a thing, and that my dad was such a nice man.
Like her sister, she was sent home. Her father, the nice man, was free to continue abusing her. So she gave the elders an ultimatum. Either they did something, or she'd go to the police. They did nothing.
I have told the police about my dad because I am concerned that he has contact with other young girls through the church.
Some of these people gave good statements and very, very positive in their attitude and support of Alison and her sister. Other people felt that they didn't want to be involved and gave a negative statement, and some people refused to speak to us altogether.
Why?
I have no idea why. They just refused to speak to the police.
Were they Jehovah's Witnesses?
I believe they were.
But they wouldn't help.
They wouldn't give a statement to us, no.
Only during the police investigation did the whole story become clear to Alison Cousins. Only now did she discover her sister had been abused too. Only now did she find out that her father confessed to elders 3 years earlier. Yet no one had warned her, his next victim.
Nobody told me anything. They all basically kept it all under wraps and told nobody what had happened.
What they did was keep a record of her father's name and confession on a church database, a register of suspected and convicted paedophiles to be monitored. We asked Alison Cousins to obtain a copy of her records using the Data Protection Act. There, in black and white, was proof that the Jehovah's Witnesses had known for 3 years that her father was a self-confessed paedophile. Yet far from monitoring him, the elders twice turned a blind eye to his abuse of his daughters. When he confessed to church elders, Cousins got a mild rebuke. When he confessed in court, he got 5 years in jail.
I believe we were the last to know. They had told several people before coming to the police, and these people had not reported it either to the police or the social services. We have a duty to protect, and if we're not told, we're unable to protect.
New York, the capital of big business, and a fitting home for one of the largest and richest religious organizations in the world. From here, the Jehovah's Witnesses control over 6 million members. From here, the worldwide headquarters in Brooklyn Heights, every policy, every guideline is dictated. Visitors are welcome, and one message is clear. In this organization, you adhere to God's word. Every month, 50,000 Bibles come off the press, ready to be sold worldwide. But this, too, is where they keep records of suspected and convicted paedophiles in their ranks. Bill Bowen, a lifelong member, has resigned as an elder. He says the men at the top are protecting the church, not the children.
They do not want people to know that they have this problem. And by covering it up, they just hurt one person. By letting it out, then they hurt the image of the church.
Elders must report abuse to the church's legal desk. Only if the law demands it must they contact the police. If it doesn't, they may be told they have a moral duty to call them, but often it seems to stop here. It seems to go no further than the church's own secret database.
Every detail is written down about what happened, where it happened, when it happened, how it happened.
You're saying the organisation has its own sexual offenders register, if you like?
That's exactly right.
That it's keeping to itself and not showing others?
Exactly right. These men remain anonymous to anyone outside the organization and anyone really inside the organization unless you are personally reporting the matter.
So was this the policy back in Stevenson that let Ian Cousins continue to abuse his daughters? The elders have stepped down and refused to talk to us, so we asked the man sent here to sort things out. Hello, Mr. Briggs. We're from BBC Panorama, as you know.
I know that.
We just want to ask you a few questions about the Ian Cousins case.
It's reasonable to really actually consider the brothers and sisters in the congregation that have had to undergo all this pressure. And so I would just leave it at that. That's all I have to say on the matter.
The database, Mr. Briggs. Why should the Jehovah's Witnesses keep a database of men who have confessed to being paedophiles, but the police aren't told? Do you think that's reasonable behaviour, Mr. Briggs? The latest name added to the list should be that of James Barrett. 3 days ago, clutching his Bible, this elder from Rugby was convicted of indecently assaulting 2 boys and sentenced to 2 years in prison. The church was told of the allegations 5 years ago, but Barrett denied them and was allowed to remain an elder. So how many names are on the secret database? We asked the headquarters in New York. They refused to tell us. Focusing on numbers isn't meaningful, they said. After a lifetime in the church, Bill Bowen tells a different story. How many names do you suspect are on that list?
23,720.
How do you know that?
I was contacted by